Today, we are going to be disconnecting a transit VIF and a direct connect gateway that we built across an Lumen IP VPN on demand connection. So let's talk through what we have in place first, and then we'll go through the next steps of removing the transit virtual interface and removing the direct connect and the direct connect gateway. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at what we built. So we've built this connection ahead of time that actually is just an MPLS connection to the Lumen network itself. This is a layer 3 connection to the Lumen MPLS network. And this orange box, if you will, represents an MPLS VPN for a customer that could have multiple locations. We just are showing one location for the purposes of this illustration. However, keep in mind, this could have hundreds and even thousands of locations. From that network, we have what's called an NNI, or a network-to-network interface, that sits on our Lumen provider edge router on the MPLS network. And so what we created was a connection out of that provider edge NNI that we have on the Lumen network into a network. An NNI is a network-to-network interface, into the direct connect router nearest to the region that we want to connect to. We picked that on-ramp through the control center portal itself, and we built this connection, and then we built the transit virtual interface that's being used to get to our virtual private clouds. So what we're going to do today is we're going to undo that because we don't need it anymore. So the first step to do this is we need to go into AWS, the AWS console. And what we want to do is we want to start working our way through what we built kind of backwards. In other words, the last thing we built previously was the transit VIF. Prior to that, we accepted the direct connect and we built a direct connect gateway. So we're going to move in that opposite order, and then we're going to go back to the Lumen Control Center, and we're going to go into services. We're going to find our service ID, and then we're going to disconnect it. So I'm back in the AWS console. This is my recently visited sites. I'm not going to force you to know what that is by heart. So I'm going to go to the actual main console. Sorry. I'm going to click on all services. That way you know how I got to those shortcuts. So down here, if we're looking at all these services, the whole array of services that AWS has, under networking and content delivery, you'll notice direct connect. So we're going to go to direct connect. And in direct connect, we are going to find this direct connect that we built across the VPN. So basically, this connection from here all the way over to here is represented by this direct connect. So we don't want to disconnect the connection first. We actually want to go down and disconnect the virtual interface that's been built on it. In this case, it's a transit virtual interface, meaning it could be used to pull multiple virtual interfaces together. We're going to select this virtual interface. And this shows our peering and everything that exists. Take this one step further and bring it back to our virtual interface. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to delete it. And what this will do is it will remove that transit virtual interface and the peering on that transit virtual interface. And when that is completed, we'll come back and get a state of deleted. In the meantime, let's go back from the AWS console to the control center portal. And what we need to do while that disconnection or that deletion is happening of the VIF, what we'll do is we'll take this time to find our service that we configured. So I've already configured the service I talked about, and I talked about using a nickname or a service name for you to be able to recognize it and find it again. And so I called my service test space direct connect 9. So I'm going to go to the, I'm going to click on, kind of just lay over the services with your mouse, and then I'm going to click on manage services. And as I go into manage services, it is going to bring up all of the different services in my environment that I've configured. And those could be for VPN on demand, but it could also be all of the other services I've configured. So I'm going to go into search and I'm going to type test direct connect 9. It's already off to try to find that. And here's my connection. So I can see that my connection is up and active. I have some options over here about creating a repair ticket or updating the nickname if I wanted to. I'm not going to do any of those. I'm going to just go in and make sure I recognize this and I'm not deleting the wrong one. So I'm going to click on what that direct connect is, and it's going to pull up a summary of the information we use to actually configure it. And the most important thing we're going to pay attention to is the connection ID, because that's what we're going to be bringing down, the direct connect. So let's go back over to the AWS console and see how we're doing. Okay, so our transit virtual interface has been deleted. And so now we can go and correct and basically delete our direct connect. So it's already selected up here. Matches what I have in my connection ID. Go back into the AWS console and I'm going to press delete. And it's going to warn me that I can't undo this action. And I'm going to go ahead and delete. Now it's going to tell me that it's been successfully deleted. So I'm going to go back out real quick. Go to Direct Connect Gateways. That's still available. I did not delete my Direct Connect gateway. Go back on this gateway and see if there's any virtual interfaces. There's not. I'm going to look at my Direct Connects, see if those exist anymore. Connection deleted successfully. It's been deleted. So we go back from our AWS console over to Control Center. And so we validated that we are disconnecting the proper direct connect, and we validated all that information. So we're ready to disconnect. So we hit this disconnect button within the Control Center portal for the service that we're managing. And it's going to give us some information. Part of that information is what we're disconnecting. The other part of it is to make sure you understand what you'll be billed for, meaning you'll be billed if you're on an hourly basis, you'll be billed to the fullest hour you used or the fullest day you used of the month. And then finally, it basically is going to tell you that the connection can't be deleted with any active virtual interfaces. So make sure that you've disconnected any resources with that hosted connection. If you click this button, it will take you back in to let you see what might still be there from a connection perspective. It's telling me this is deleted, so I'm going to trust it. I'm going to click yes, and then I'm going to click on confirm disconnect. Now it tells me here that my request to do the disconnect has been successful. What I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and close this. What I want to be able to see here is I actually want to see the deprovisioning, if you will, or the deactivation. Once this bar is fully done, then we've completed our deactivation of that direct connect. So let's wait. Okay, so our connection has been successfully deactivated. If you look at your status here, you'll see disconnected. And so we've completed our disconnection.